The views and opinions in the following program are those of the host and guests and do not reflect those of Ernest Smith or Ernest Smith Productions. This is ESP TV.
Good evening and welcome to ESP TV. My name is Karen Bryson and tonight's topic is resolution or revolution. My special guests this evening are Joel Roman, Nicholas Howard, Ronald Lindsay, and Kiara Smith, also known as Miss Keys. Let me give you a little brief background on Miss Keys first. She's affectionately known as Miss Keys and began her professional musical career in 2009 under the Rockstar Entertainment label, releasing her first single, Traces of My Makeup. Subsequent albums released are Art of Attraction Gold, and Kiara's most recent album, Paradox, which is a dual album providing music as well as signifying as poetry her growth throughout her career. Kiara's music is inspired by her Pentecostal upbringing and abuse she really received while growing up, which has enabled her to hold down her faith, and the enrichment and healing through music has given her by the courage to use her music gifts to the fullest. She's inspired by Billie Holiday, Nina Simone, Beyonce, and Alicia Keys. Kiara, Miss Keys, is also an actress, co-starring in Oh, Where's My Christmas Tree? And in This Thing Called Life. Keep your eyes open for this amazing young lady through her music, poetry, and theater arts. Welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
My next guest is Nicholas Howard Bernard Biddle. That's a long name, my goodness. Can you imagine trying to spell all that in kindergarten? Good grief, Nicholas. Nicholas is the Assistant Director, President, and CEO of Passageway Productions, which he started in Jacksonville, Florida in 2006. Nicholas has written, produced, and directed several plays, Prayer Changes Things, Too Angry to Cry, and That's What Family Do. He also composed songs and spoken word entitled Stain, It's Not About Me, and Healed Broken. Nicholas is a member of the Toastmaster Society and has given countless encouraging and motivational speeches. He's a 20-year Navy vet who has received the Joint Service Commendations Medal, War on Terrorist Medal, Navy Marine Corps Commendations Medal, Combat Actions Ribbon, and the National Defense Service Medals, among others. Welcome, Nicholas, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an
My
honor to
next
be here.
guest is sitting right here next to me, Ronald Lindsay. How are you? To give a brief description of his bio, he's the founder and former production organizer of the organization Laughter as Medicine Production, also known as LAMP. It's a traveling comedy troupe. Ronald is his current project endeavor is a web series comedy sitcom called Next. Ronald is also a featured actor, and in the comedy group Fresh Option, he also lends his talents to local film producers. Welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Our final guest is Joel Roman. This crazy man I've known for several years, and anyone that is in his atmosphere or the aura around him is so infectious because he is so light and bubbly and so full of energy that you either have to catch up to him or get blown away by his energy. He's an amazing, talented character actor, originally from Bridgeport, Connecticut, and he's decided to grace us with his presence down here in Virginia and represented by Sylvia Hudson Agency. He's also a SAG-AFTRA member in the industry. Joel is credited with movies such as CSI Miami, The Journey, Skid Marks, The Grind, Remembering Phil. He also has appeared in such television shows as Law and Order, Johnny Zero, Film Fakers, America's Most Wanted, iCarly, Happily Never After, and FBI Criminal Pursuit. Joel is no stranger to the big stage either, having performed on Off-Broadway and out in California. I don't believe you took any of us with you, Joel. You know what? We have a problem with that. One man show, Hollywood's Lost Child, It Ain't Easy Being Godly. He has also been honored with Best Actor at the Smithfield One Act Festival and will be performing his play under the new name, Hollywood to Holiness, It Ain't Easy Being Godly, in surrounding cities and wherever God leads him to his ministry with his message. Joel has a sitcom pilot on lateflix.com called Quarantined, which was a finalist in Los Angeles in the International Short Awards Film Festival. Welcome, everyone. Now that I stumbled through all of your bios, but I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here. Let's start with the elephant in the room, and that's 45. Oh my gosh. I watched Face the Nation this past weekend, and I was just so angered by some of the remarks. Let's start with Roy Blunt, Representative Roy Blunt of Face the Nation. He said that the police at the Capitol were not complicit in moving barriers and helping to usher the rioters in. Were all of us not seeing the same thing? Were some of us blind to what was going on? He also doesn't think or feel that 45 should or will be impeached within these next few days that he's in office. What do you all think?
What we witnessed last Wednesday was really is history. A matter that's unheard of for this country. It's one thing to protest if you feel that your civil liberties or your rights have been violated, but it's a whole nother animal when you storm the Capitol and you seek to overthrow an election, as well as to slaughter lawmakers, They went in there with a specific agenda, and it's a lot deeper than what we're probably finding out. Every day, they're uncovering more and more on how this really is coming down from the top, and so many
Absolutely.
different people that are involved in this coup.
Absolutely. Nicholas, what did you see and what was your take on all of this?
I see. I thought I was kind of I looked at it from a different standpoint. I really appreciated it. The reason I say that is because you know, when they had like the Black Lives Matter movement, they had all the troops and policemen on the stairs, you know, protecting, you
Absolutely.
know, and I looked at it, you know, hindsight, you know, and at first I was a little bit upset because of the differences in the approach, but then I looked at God in the middle of it, showing us something. Because if those soldiers and things wouldn't have been there, we would have, you know, we would have tore that place up. And fortunate and the embarrassment would have been on us. But I think God showed us something different while He had those troops there and allowed, you know, that place to be protected. But in this particular instance, it was not protected, and the people that was so patriotic and the people that, you know, really said their love for this country really showed their true colors. And it was, to me, it was actually a blessing disguised that people don't really consider that aspect of it.
Well, the mayor of the District of Columbia, Muriel Bowser, said that she had requested that state police or the National Guard or someone be around the Capitol because they had reservations, and it was, you know, throughout the news and mass media and everything else that something was going to occur. And there were trained military and law enforcement that helped to storm the Capitol. Joel, what do you feel about all that?
You know, what I saw last week, I felt I was watching a movie. I couldn't believe this was actually happening in the United States of America. I'm like, am I watching Jumanji right now? It's crazy. You know, I felt like I was watching Jumanji on CNN, and I was just speechless. And you know, things like this happen in the Middle East, not in the United States of America. You know, so it just shows how divided we are, and it's sad because we're stronger together. And and I just one word or two words, lack or three words, lack of respect.
Yes,
You
yes,
know, it
yes,
shows
yes.
our
And
people
your
have lack of
audio is going
respect
out.
for our government. You know, and then you think about safety, and it's like this is happening in our own home. So I was dumbfounded. You know, like right now, speechless. So we really need unity right now. And no matter, like, you know, like my man Nicholas says, you know, I believe in peaceful protest. You know, okay, you know, you think, you know, the election went wrong. Okay, that's your belief. Protest, but peacefully, not violently. You know, I mean, I'm big on the word of God, and the word of God does say obey the government, even though they're not always right. Obey it, and it does say it's okay to have protests. You know, that's cool, but the way the people lashed out last week, it makes the USA look weak.
It
Yes,
to
it
me it just
does.
it,
It definitely. Go on.
I think it just compounded the confusion. I mean, I don't. What were they protesting? I mean, they were protesting lies that they had been fed by the president about their election being stolen, and they went to every court. There was no evidence that the election was stolen or rigged or anything like that, and they still protested. What were they protesting? I don't understand. We Black Lives Matter. We protested the unjust treatment of our fellow Americans, black, brown, and brothers and sisters. But that's what we were protesting, that the unfair and malicious treatment of our people. What were they really protesting? And they tore up the Capitol. I mean, I'm confused.
basically white privilege, that they felt they should not wear masks, that they
Exactly.
had the privilege to run in there and take over and do what they wanted to do, that everyone else should fall in line because this is a white socialist country and we're not staying in our lane. I was more angry than afraid when I witnessed what happened. Not that I even had to be there, but the anger just boiled up inside me. Kiara, how did that suit you? Were you angry or were you afraid when you witnessed all this on TV?
Um, Honestly, I was a little bit of both. My background doesn't just include music, it also includes law enforcement. And one thing that we were taught is to protect at all costs, but not to harm. The one video that is circulating the internet right now is the African American man who basically had no help. And I think it was definitely a metaphor of how our country is ran right now. We're isolated as a black people, we're by ourselves, we're left out to fend for ourselves, and then it becomes ultimately a joke. I think that this country has become a joke, it's become a mockery, and growing we're the government, voting and understanding that your vote counts and your vote matters. But as a black woman, it just started mattering less than 75 years ago. So you're telling me that my vote, in essence, still doesn't matter. To see the protests, I've got friends and family that actually live up north, and I'm quite concerned, especially with us living so close to the Capitol and so close to military bases. It's like, I'm just gonna say it, like, Caucasians, white people, they don't care about anybody but themselves. So if we got bombed right now in Virginia, like there are different places that you can, how can I say this the right way, where you can protest and it won't have but so much effect. But when you protest in our nation's capital, when you protest in Virginia, when you protest in New York and California, in these major places, it's gonna really anger some very important people. And it's not just you who will be affected, it's everyone around. It's not just the older white people. It's the older white people, black people, the babies, like all of us. We could all have a huge safety risk just because you're throwing a big old tantrum.
Absolutely, and I don't think it's fair to blanketly say that all Caucasians are invested in white privilege, because there are a lot of supporters that see what's going on, especially with modern technology now showing everything the way it is. And it wasn't really until Floyd's murder that it came to the forefront and people finally said, look, we've had enough. With anything, just like with bullies, they can push you only so far, and when you finally had enough, you react. The black police officer in the Capitol, he had the presence of mind, even to the detriment of himself. He knew what his job was. He steered the mob away from the Senate and House floor so that the people that were in there would not be harmed. My next question to all of you all is, considering that a lot of the bias and rhetoric that 45 has thrown out, and they carried a noose in there specifically looking for Pence or someone else, isn't hanging the vice president of federal crime and treasonous? Can someone start the conversation with that?
Yeah, definitely. But I think that, kind of going back to some of the points here, that this was a protest, but it was actually a parade. The protest was a smokescreen for a faction of our country who feels one entitlement, privilege. They went to overthrow the government, and they used protesting to kind of mimic, or to the Black Lives Matter type of protest. They used it as a smokescreen. And the crowd that showed up there was used as guinea pigs to help foster the real mission. And the mission wasn't to protest. It wasn't to protest the election or anything of that nature. It was to strictly overthrow the government, to say, hey, we are going to put we kind of went to a Venezuela's almost type of atmosphere
Okay.
in that moment. So we're looking at a regime change basically. How what we do sometimes in other countries where we'll go over and overthrow a ruler and then put someone else in power. That same scenario was actually happening on U.S. soil.
Absolutely. Nicholas, you mentioned earlier that you were glad, in essence, that the police officers and enforcement were there when the Black Lives Matter marches and everything else was going on. Do you honestly feel in your heart that had this been reversed and black, brown, and anyone else that was supportive of our movement had stormed the Capitol, that it would have been the same type of scenario without more lives and killings going on?
Well, I, I think dealing with the situation that we witnessed in George be murdered, like he was, and the way we felt, who's it? Martin Luther King said, "Violence is the actions of the unheard," and we as black men, Black America has been offered so many blank checks or promises that has not been fulfilled, and the younger generation are at a point to where they are relentless, and I understand because you get to a point where you're tired. You tired,
Right.
and it's all about love. People think love is love is patient, love is kind, but also love protects, love defends, love stand up for what's right. You know, and I think our love has come to a point where we're starting to love ourselves more than the lies that we're being fed, and we're starting to take action and because we're not united as we could be, we're just acting off of emotions and things like that. So I think if those troops wouldn't have been there when they was doing the march, yeah, I think they would have did a lot more damage, and I think would have caused us to look a lot worse than we then I ain't gonna say than we looked, because I have an opinion on that as well. But I think it saved us from the shame and that it caused the people that were actually out there involved in insurrection.
Can I just maybe
Yes,
throw a
go
point
on.
in there? Whenever you set up a protest in a city, you have to go through different zonings. You have to partner with the local law enforcement.
Absolutely.
So
And-
isn't it kind of strange that a event of this magnitude
Right.
did not have the necessary law enforcement
Credentials or anything else.
anything to be able to stave off this. They had to have known that something like this was going to take place from the highest level. There's no way that you're talking about the nation's capital and the FBI, Homeland Security, and all the other agencies were not involved or brought in pre that event. That is so strange on so many levels. You can't even do a picnic in the park without letting the city know what's going on. So I find it extremely ironic and very strange that those mechanisms were not put in place for such a huge. The reason why Black Lives Matter they had the guards there, because they wouldn't have been able to set up that protest without having that. So how can you have a protest set up?
Before someone else jumps in, let me just make the comment. It was known, and it was known at the highest level. Why? Because where were they? They were downstairs in the bunker, sequestered away.
This
Who was
to
going
me,
to respond before I just gave my comment?
I just wanted to
Was
say
it
to
Nicholas, or was that you,
yes,
Kiara?
I was about to say, I was just going to add, I did 20 years in the military. I had a top secret clearance, and I was stationed in DC, Bethesda for quite some time. And you can't hear me?
We
Yeah,
can now.
we
You
can
had
now, yeah.
zoned out
You
there for a
kinda going
moment.
now.
Okay. Well, as I was saying, I did I did 20 years in the military, and I had top secret clearance. It's not strange. It's not questionable. It's was planned. I mean, clearly.
That's
Exactly.
just
Exactly.
why
Yeah.
he's being brought up again to be impeached. My goodness. Joel, I want you to
Yeah.
weigh in on this. Okay, what do you think our stance should be? Should we be peaceful like Martin? By any means necessary, defend ourselves and our family like
Well, I'm all about peace, Karen. You know, and I'm all about peace. I'm all about prayer. And no matter how crazy the world look right now, God is still on the throne. You know, but we really have to pretty much unite. You know, unite. This world has been divided for a while now, from everything that's been going, and it's sad. You know, the book says the devil's a liar, right? There's a lot of lies
okay.
going on right now. So we need some more truth. We need some more facts, and we need to continue moving forward, but peacefully as we pray. We can't just pray and not do our part. We have to unite with our brothers and sisters as we pray, moving, and what we can do to, make life better for everybody and put the right people in office. And so things can be fixed because these past 4 years has been a clown show. I think this will be a great show for Ronald Leslie's next episode.
Okay, well, while we're moving, what is that medium in between? What do you suggest needs to be done?
I'm sorry.
I said, while we're moving ahead and still being in prayer, and we know that Jehovah's on the throne, what is that happy medium in between the two as far as action and reaction? What needs to be accomplished?
What needs to be done? Well, right now, the 25th Amendment should have been invoked. But since Pence didn't invoke that, now I believe Donald Trump got impeached yesterday, correct? Or today?
Yes.
He did.
Yes.
So that's good. So and believe it or not, I believe I heard a lot of Republicans were in on it as well. So that's good. That means his party is seeing the wrong. So that's the first step. We got to get this man out of office because honestly, I don't believe he's entitled to be there until the 20th. I mean,
Okay,
when half the team
Let
is
me ask
leaving
this
you,
then. Considering Vice President Pence's life was in danger, as well as others, he still refuses to go along with having 45 impeached or removed, the 25th Amendment, and have him removed from office with just these few days away. Why? Does 45 have something he's holding over him? What do you think? Let's start with you, Kiara.
He absolutely does. There's a common term in entertainment: more money, more problems, right? But then there's also scripture, so I'll even lean towards what Joel was saying, and then even something I truly believe, that your name has a lot of weight. And being the president of the United States, at least in America, it means something. So I believe that Pence is afraid. I believe everyone in Congress at this point is afraid of what could happen afterwards. I will compare it to this. Growing up, have you ever done something that was so wrong and it was kind of like, well, since I'm here, I'm just going to keep going with it because I'm already going to get a whipping or I'm already going to be in trouble. I think that's what's going on with the government.
Not in my household, girl. We were not crazy.
If I was in trouble, I was all the way in trouble. Let's just go for it.
You little rebel, you.
I got whippings just because, but that's just a different story. But no, I really think that's what's going on right now. I mean, there's millions and trillions of eyes on the government right now. And, I'm going to keep saying the unpopular thing. It just is what it is. There's America, there's Black America, there's Indian America. It is what it is. We are divided as a nation. There's no unity whatsoever. Even amongst the Caucasian Americans, there's a split. Either go for Black Lives Matter or you don't. I truly believe that Pence is trying to find the best way out. Just like Trump. Trump knows he's in trouble. he knows that if he goes anywhere internationally, I think he was trying to go to Greenland or something like that, he's automatically arrested. It's like, let's go down in history. The problem is that they're treating our country like it's a game. These are our lives.
Right.
You've let the pandemic go out, and continue on. There's like a new strand coming out of COVID, and because these people that are higher up in the government have access to these drugs, they have access to these medical plans, they have access to everything that the middle Americans and the lower Americans don't have, they're going to keep going. They don't care about us. And it's a shame. But just to wrap up what I was saying, I think that Pence is going to keep this going because there's some sort of deal going on that we don't know about. There's a lot that gets tweeted, but of course that no longer can happen. Shout out to Twitter for canceling Trump. There's a lot of things that we don't know that's going on, but I feel like there is some sort of safety net there that maybe it's like maybe less jail time, or, you know, I got you. There's a place for you on another side of the world. I mean, just like Nicholas said, there's a bunker. Like, you're safe. You're okay. They're not caring about us. And I guess the way they're looking at it is, what's a few more days? But a few more days could really destroy our entire country.
Absolutely. Ronald, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, you know what? I think one thing that we don't think about is that it wouldn't surprise me if the international community brought charges. Just like we're quick to march over into other countries when their leaders are doing things genocide or overdoing things that are seditious.
Right.
It really, really, really wouldn't surprise me if the international community came together and levied charges against Trump and his administration. You know, you think about how he went to protect the Saudi prince when he put the hit out on that journalist, and they basically bone sawed the guy and took his body out in a suitcase out of a hotel. There's a lot going on that's so much, you know, a little bit deeper than what we see that's on the surface. But it really, 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 I would honestly like to see the international community come together and levy some charges against them and get them for war crimes.
Absolutely.
Well, they actually already have.
New York has canceled anything connected with 45 at this point, meaning they're no longer having the golf tournaments there. The skating ring that he had monies in, they've taken that away. Something they also had in the park, one of the big parks up there in New York, and anything else contributing to, you know, just connected to Trump, they are dissolving all affiliations with him and looking for other vendors and other means to come in and take over those projects and things. Do you think that because Russia is waiting like a lion in the forest to see what's going to happen, that they have maybe offered him some concessions because he's gotten money from them? What is your take on that, Joel?
That's a good one. Wow. I would have never thought about that, Karen. But you know what? You got a good point. I mean, isn't Snowden still out there? Right?
Yeah.
Snowden?
Yeah.
The whistleblower, he's still out there. And he was helping pretty much, not so much Russia, but he was sharing the truth about USA. So if they're protecting Snowden, why not protect Donald Trump? His wife is Russian.
Oh, wow.
I believe he has asylum out there.
Nicholas, did you have something you wanted to say?
I do kind of want to say something. Now,
Not kind
I
of. Come
think-
on with it. Come on.
Come on, brother.
I think Trump was a necessary evil, very necessary. I think that we're all going to be grateful. Did I go out there? Come back on? Okay. I think he's a necessary evil that we're all going to be grateful for in the time to come. Can you hear me? Am I still there?
We can hear you. I'm waiting for
Okay.
you to explain
And-
why he's
okay.
a necessary evil before I jump all over you. No, come on. I want your opinion.
Now,
Hey,
the
Bible
thing,
time, baby.
The thing I like about him, because he said what he was going to do. He said he was going to drain the swamp, and he was going to make America great again. And fortunately, he's exposed a lot of those people that has made America such a swamp place. We are a morally bankrupt society. How in the world did this man that has no morals or aptitude of moral, I don't know, get this close to even being in the presidency? In the beginning when he first ran for president, they had they had the recording of him saying he just walk up to females and grab them by the chocha, and then they have females telling prosecuting or trying to get lawyers to prosecute him for things that he done, and they don't believe the women when he already told you what he done, what he done, and then he makes all these. I mean, even if we want to go with the Bible, like I want to touch on what Joe said earlier. Out of the heart, the mouth speaks of the heart. Everything Trump says has no moral or no care in it.
Right.
And if you and I like peace, I love peace, and I can appreciate peace, but peace has gotten us so far backwards still. I think the Bible said also there was a time there's a time and a season for everything. And we have one life. We've watched 400 years, decades and decades of our people murdered and slain. We just wanted to live in a fair society, and this peace and love and keep being patient. We are a very loving people. And I think white people are more so worried about revenge, and instead of judging us by our character. Nobody's perfect. Everybody have bad people in their groups, but we had a very sensitive time where enough is enough.
It's past enough. Let me throw this out there. Do you all feel that because with movies and television and the music of today, I'm not a huge rap fan. I liked hip hop more so back then because they were actually poets telling a story as opposed to denigrating women and just cursing and everyone thinking that they had to be gangster. The point I'm trying to make is, do you feel that we are so anesthetized by violence perpetrated against everyone in general, the blood and guts you see on TV, the explicit sex, the music and everything else, that people are looking at that together with these reality shows, and they like the drama. They're drinking not the champagne, but the Kool-Aid that 45 is giving them. They like bullies because they see the violence and everything, and it's revving them up. Do you all feel that there's a connection there? Kiara, can we start with you?
Absolutely. That's one of the struggles of being an artist, is what message you put out there. I try to only speak on what I've experienced, but I am heavy in the hip hop and the rap game. And you're right. The newer generation. I'm on everything is so consistent. People getting beat up, and I'm like, and sometimes, I'm 30. Sometimes I fall into it. I'm scrolling and I see like a fight video, and I'm like, oh, I have to back up and realize, wait a minute, this isn't TV. This is real life. People are so focused, and I hate it. They're so focused on going viral. There's no goal in life right now outside of going viral for these generations, and they feel like the whole joke people have about kids and things like that. You can hear them in these videos. You're gonna go viral for this, but they don't really have a point behind what they're doing. They're not about equality. They're not about social tolerance. They're about, I feel a certain way. I want to get my point out. I don't care how you feel about it. And even if it hurts someone, people have to be more cognizant and mindful that what they say, somebody somewhere is going to follow it. That's where these cults come from. That's where these groups on Facebook come from, these hate groups. That's where the KKK came from. That's where the anti-Black Lives Matter movements came from. It's because people are so focused on let me go viral first and let me stand up on my pedestal, on my soapbox and let everybody listen to me. But if you haven't stepped back and thought about it, like what we were talking about earlier, like having a plan, you're just talking out your butt because you just want to talk. You're not understanding how many people are dying behind it. We see what we see on TV. We see what we see on social media, and we feel like that's it. But one thing about the Black community that we've been trying to stand so firm on, and it's not just because we're Black, it's just justice, period. It's what anyone says affects the person in downtown Newport News that's just walking down the street and they get killed for no reason because of what somebody said on TV. It's the person in a small town in California who's being sexually harassed because somebody on the internet said, this is okay, this is justified. And then let me go live for it.
Joel, weigh in on this. What are your thoughts?
I definitely agree with Miss Keys. For the entertainment world right now, people don't understand. There are subliminal messages in the entertainment that we allow to watch, whether it's through music, movies, TV shows, cartoons. If you really listen, they're planting seeds in your brain. All right, and not just that, but the president has ran this country the last 4 years as it was his reality show. I feel like I watch every time I hear him watch. Every time I hear him talk, I feel like I'm watching an episode of The Apprentice. Just like when he sent people to go up the Capitol, and they went. Of course, I agree with you all. Someone dropped the ball on purpose, and it was planned. I definitely agree with that. But just watch entertainment. What they're telling you, and they don't call a TV an idiot box for nothing. If you sit in front of it long enough, you're gonna become an idiot, and you're gonna start believing everything the media tells you, TV shows, characters, roles. I once heard a bishop say, people know more about characters than they know about their own lives. And a lot of times, they want to envision themselves like those characters. So those characters are violent. If they think they can go and take over the Capitol, they're going to do it. And I think right now we're living in a time where a lot of people don't care. Whether it's black, white, Hispanic, Asian, they just don't care. And I'm telling you, as I was watching what I saw last week, I really felt like it was the Middle East. Like people are like, hey, I'm going to take it over and I'm willing to die. What? Because when you have people who are not fearful of authority or who don't lack respect for authority,
white privilege,
the results are endless. And I'm telling you, I'm surprised it wasn't a bloodshed. A little bit.
Come on, Nicholas. I know you have something to say because you leaned forward. So we know that stance. If you're going to lean forward, then you have something you want to weigh in on.
Lean with it, rock with it. Come on.
No, I did want to touch on a couple things because you said something about the media and mind and things like that. And I'm writing something right now. It's called The Other Side of a Lie. And the reason I say that is because the media is so powerful.
Right, you're fine.
Even from I don't know if you guys experienced it when you were kids or anything like that, but I did. Even on the news would display the whereabouts of Santa Claus, on Christmas Eve. The news would tell you, Santa Claus in this neighborhood, Santa Claus in this part of the world. And me as a kid, I'm up looking and excited and looking for Santa Claus, trying to see if he's real or not. But how, and I know this is petty, but it's really deep if you think about it. How morally challenged are we as a nation if we allow the children? We'll go to that extreme to lie to children and to where we make Santa Claus a part of the news. And a lot of times we don't realize the effects of the the television and things that the things that they put in front of us, because we're traumatized by a lot of life, and they try to make things so what is it make it common to where we don't react to like murders and things like that.
We're anesthetized to it.
Yeah. They want to desensitize you. I mean, and I'll say, and the reason I say, like a lot of stuff is that mental, this society, we in a mental crisis with just mental dealing with people. It's not so much the people, it's just, the way they think, the way they, the things that they are taught and things like that. I had a guy, transvestite, got mad with me because I called him a man, and I was like, why are you mad at me? That's what I see. Well, I don't feel like a man. In my mind, I'm a woman. And I'm like, well, in my mind, you're a man. I'm not saying you crazy, but I know I'm not crazy.
Okay.
You're not
You
gonna
were
force.
allowing
You're
him
not
to
gonna
be
force.
him, but your visual
Yeah,
of him presented a man.
yeah. Don't force me to think. Don't like you. I'm not saying nothing wrong with you or anything like that, but that's your way of thinking, not mine. And to me, when you can't, if you were born become a woman or whatever the case may be, um, I'm still torn because to me, you're still a man. Still a man to me. I'm not gonna subdue my mind to see you as a woman.
That is an extremely touchy conversation and
I know it
topic
is.
in
I know it
general,
is.
only because
I'm the one to have it. I'm the one to have it though.
no, I'm saying that basically because it's right up there with politics and religion. No one is allowing
Oh
the
yeah.
other person to voice their opinion or their thoughts because if it doesn't agree with what you're thinking, then that person is wrong and it comes to harm or chaos or whatever
Exactly.
else when supposedly America's foundation was built on you can have an opinion. We'll let you say it. We may not agree with you, but you're allowed to voice your opinion. But that, even all the way back to President Adams and Jackson and all the rest of them, that has not been beneficial for anyone, as we've seen. In fact, Joel, let me bring you into this. How do you feel about that wall being built?
That's a foolish.
Canada said they want one too.
Hey,
Put that in there. Okay.
hey, ask your supporters how they climbed that wall. What is happening right now?
Oh my gosh.
Yikes.
It is amazing that the folks that feel that they are privileged here in America have done absolutely nothing to help build this country. Black, brown, yellow people, everyone else that has come here has built this country. The original people, the indigenous, the Native Americans. The lie started there when nothing that was told to them came to pass, and they tried to disintegrate a whole nation of people that have no rights, that have no land, that everything was taken from them. And then black people, our people were brought over here unwillingly, stolen from our country, our names taken away, our culture, our music, our thoughts, our heritage. And we're supposed to stomach that and be okay with it. The Hispanics that have lent so much to this country, the Orientals, the Asians, none of this seems to matter. And we are the ones that built this country. But none of that is being recognized until now. We will be heard.
I think
And you know
one
what?
thing too.
Can I throw something in there?
One moment.
Real
Ronald
quickly,
wanted to say something, and
yeah.
then I'll let you join in.
Yeah, real quickly. In order to what the consciousness of our country of people, in order to do certain things, you have to override your conscience. And if you kill somebody, you have to override your conscience to be able to do that. And once we get used to doing that, it's nothing that you won't be able to do, that you will not do. And going back to, like we talked about the entertainment, once people have been desensitized to killing and raping, and it's a form of entertainment, like this movie, What's Love Got to Do with It?
Right.
I can't watch movies like that as entertainment.
Exactly.
A guy smacking around. But what happens is we get desensitized. So where you see this on a regular basis and see it as entertainment, then guess what? When you start seeing it in reality, you're already desensitized. You already learned how to override your conscience. So that's why what happened last week, it's not going to phase a lot of people because they've already learned how to override their conscience to be able to do certain acts.
I agree. And you know what that brings me to, Ronald? As I'm hearing you talk, hey, America has gone numb.
Yes.
That's it. Yes,
absolutely.
sir. It's gone numb.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And
We're
you know what
numb.
else
But
is
you know,
scary?
Numb.
No, go on.
you know what,
What were you
you know
gonna
what
say?
happens when, you know what happens, right? You know what happens when you get numb, right?
You feel
It's
numb.
surgery. Surgery.
Exactly. We need surgery. It's time for new office to help him march in there and start making some surgery moves. Because we need it. Because right now, as I'm hearing everything, man, people have gone numb. And when people go numb, crazy things happen, as we saw last week. And
Absolutely.
I mean, just hear about what the reports now they're them saying about 50 capitals being surrounded now, possibly an attack,
Yeah.
and then another
Yes.
bigger attack the day of inauguration. I just heard 20,000 troops have been deployed to DC, which is more than we have in the Middle East.
Probably.
You know,
And you know what? The joke is the entire world used to look up to us, even though America has always been a bully. I don't know how we can go in someone else's country and tell them how to run their governments when
Right.
we can't take care of our own backyard
right. That's true.
and deal with racism
true.
and bigotry and hate. But right now, the other worlds, the other countries, they've seen the great and powerful Oz behind the curtain. It's all been stripped away. They see exactly who we are, and they're watching. And the only thing that honestly scares me is the fact that China, Korea, someone else may be waiting to see, okay, they're vulnerable. Why don't we see if we can't take advantage? You know, I'd like to be the great and powerful Oz right now. You know, who else is going to join in with us and overtake them? Their defenses are down.
Well, I heard North Korea's they're working on some new nuclear bombs. So who knows if they're already thinking about it? You know, I wouldn't put it past them other dictator leaders that Trump looks up to.
I think
But that's the
Russia
thing.
is
Could you
specifically is going to
imagine?
wait to see what happens, and then they are going to jump all over this.
Right. Hmm.
Okay.
I mean, where
do you all
we
honestly
coming?
feel that the impeachment is going to go through because he has so many people, his little followers, his little minions behind him, ready to support him right now, but once he's out of office, where are all these people going to be? Do you think they'll still support him, or will they try to be covering and saving their own backsides? Joelle?
That's a great question, Karen. Well, half of them are bailing ship right now. I mean, once this happened last week, a lot of them started resigning. But he does have some minions that still support him for whatever reason that we might not know or might have assumptions. But honestly, I believe more are going to jump ship just because it's not going to look good for them career-wise, whether they're in the Senate or any other type of position they hold. It's going to hurt them
Right.
more. Right now, Donald Trump is like a bad disease. You just don't want to get
Absolutely.
close to it. You don't want to catch it. And not just that, but half his team has been bailing on him since his second term? I mean,
My
I've
gosh.
never heard of that. Like your team be resigning, like his right hand man.
There's
You
so
know,
many
people
people
have to a
that
point.
have been hired and fired since he's been in office. It's ridiculous. I have never in my life.
Yeah.
It was his show all over again, except being played from the White House. Kiara, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's interesting you were talking about abandoning ship because, you know, as we've been saying the whole time, Trump is a bully. I was listening to something right before the interview about how he had hired a lawyer and the lawyer allegedly, we'll just say allegedly, was charging $20,000 a day to basically fight the results of the election. And because it was BS, like the election, the way it turned out was how it was supposed to turn out. He was upset about it. Now he's refusing to pay his own lawyer. Like, if ever in my entire 30 years I have seen privilege, this is it. This is it. You're telling me Martin Luther King fought for peace and for justice and for love amongst all men, period. And this man is fighting for the entire opposite. And I don't mean this in Lord the government find me, because it's not gonna happen in my end. But you to tell me this man is still alive and all the hate he's spreading? Someone spread peace. Yes. Multiple men spread peace among men. Our Black Lives Matter movements, even here in Virginia, are spreading peace. And you mean to tell me these people have stormed a Capitol, broke windows? You better not spit on a Capitol walking by as someone other than white, and you're gonna get arrested. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Are you ridiculous? So I think that, yes, a lot of people are going to get to a point where they're abandoning ship because they don't want no parts of it, or any parts of it, excuse me. But I don't think it's going to matter at this point. It's 2021. The internet is everywhere. The gentleman who dressed up bareback with the little thing on his head, we see you. Everybody sees you. You can't hide at this point. You're not going to be able to get a job at 7-Eleven with the millennials knowing what you did. I'm so sorry. They're going to be fighting for a raised minimum wage at this point because they fought so hard for something. We're trying to fight to not be killed, and you're fighting trying to overturn the president. You should have took your little $2,000 stimulus plan, sat back, and waited for the next wave to come back.
Oh my, tell him, girl. Hand clap, little small clap on this one. Nicholas, 45's followers are living a dystopian society ideology. So once he's out of office and they see he no longer has any power, do you think that they will just go back to their meager existence? And we only have a few more minutes, so give me a quick minute of your thoughts on that before we wind this down.
I think they're gonna get more creative. I just think they're gonna. I mean, that's the only thing that is consistent with. And I will say this lighthearted. I love everybody, but Caucasians are known for their consistency with murder, rape, steal, kill, destroy, and
absolutely the DNA.
It hasn't changed, and I think they're not going to change. I think they're going to just get more craftier and craftier and craftier at it until we actually unite and somehow, some way, shape, form, our God come back. We'll come together, hopefully, as a United States.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so sorry. I had to give Nicholas the last word on that. Nicholas, since I ended with you, I'm going to start with you. We only have a couple of minutes left now. Can you please tell our listening audience, considering the various projects and things you're doing, how can they get in touch with you?
My number, no, I'm just playing. You can reach me at Facebook or just passagewayproductions.com. I'm always available and I'm always working. And there it is.
Oops, there it is. Okay, Miss Kiara.
You can actually, and I hope this doesn't sound pretentious, if you Google Miss Keys, MISSKEYS, I'm like,
come on, girl, with you. Come on.
You can look me up everywhere. I try to make sure it's very consistent. But yes, you can find me anywhere at MISSKEYS, and that stands for Keep Encouraging Yourself.
Great. Joelle, come on, give it to us. How can we get in touch with you? Tell our listening audience.
To go to Lake.com and rent or purchase my sitcom Quarantine. All right? You can find out where you go, baby! Yeah!
That's right. Throw that plug in there.
Don't do it. All right, and more information on our website, www.actorjoelroman.com. Yeah, baby!
selling it, boy.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
He's
I'm
definitely
I'm
selling
gonna go
it.
get that.
Ronald, come on now,
I
give it
gotta
to
find
us.
Let me get mine,
Eh,
family. Let me get mine.
Let him get his.
No, you can hit me up at ronald.lindsay at freshoption.com. That's my email. Or you can go to the www.freshoption.tv. Also, you can download on Amazon Fire Stick or your Roku platform our television station, which is Fresh Option TV. Go download it. We already got some sitcoms up. We got a couple of dramas up there, so we're building the content out. So, and if you have content that you're looking to put on Amazon Fire Stick or Roku, hit us up, and we can definitely let you know how you can get your your stuff on there, as well as advertisement. You got business, whatever you want to do, we can definitely help you get it out there.
Great. I want to thank each and every one of you for your time, for your thoughts, for your opinions, and your invaluable lessons that you're teaching those that are watching, because if we don't say it, it won't get said. This has been ESP TV. My name is Karen Bryson, and as always, be a blessing to at least one other person each day. Take care. Good night.
Good night.